Okay, let's call this meeting of Douglas County Commission to order. Tuesday, August 19th, 2014, 6:01 p.m. We have a moment of silent prayer, and immediately following, Commissioner Williams will lead us in the pledge to the flag. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did everybody have a chance to read the minutes of the previous meeting?
Yes, and there was a minor clarification there. Do you still have it up there? On page 2, where it says, Commissioner Robinson stated that he believed the AA should reimburse the commission and agreed that if they purchase another ambulance, they should help pay for it. I felt that the way it's written, it indicated that I believe that the ambulance authority should reimburse the $50,000. And so I just want to clarify that after the commission, for any purchase after the monitor purchase. So with that correction, I'm good with the minutes.
Okay. I move that we accept the minutes of the previous meeting. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed? Nay. Ayes have it. The motion is carried. Correspondence. Only thing I have here looks like the website. Did everybody get a copy, or just the commissioners get a copy? Did you
Just the
get them?
commission, just you all, because I printed these up at home.
Okay. All right. I'll leave mine out here for people to look at if they want to look at it, okay? That's all the correspondence I have. I'm looking for...
Wait a minute.
That's it. American pageants. Pure American Pageant newest royalty. Sarah Taylor is Pure American Pageant's newest crown royalty of Miss Pure American National Sweetheart. She completed in modeling, personal introductions, and personal interview at the National Pageant, where she also learned many useful skills that will help her in her preparation for whatever goals and dreams she pursues. As a positive role model, Sarah Taylor will have the opportunity to attend festivals, parades, community activities, and volunteer her service to organizations helping those in need. Pure American Pageants would like to congratulate Sarah Taylor on a job well done. Pure American Pageants is a Christian-based pageant system for contestants aged 0 to adult. If you would like to complete or know someone else who would like to compete, you can visit the Pageant National website or contact the National office at 740-709-1612. You may also contact Sarah Taylor at 304-615-0872 if you would like for her to attend any events. I will set this out here. If anybody wants to look that pass around, you're welcome to do so. Okay. I do not see public comment.
It's been in the program. But I'll
And it definitely admitted that.
Okay, so we'll go to public comment now. Okay. Mark Abbott, you wish to speak?
Mr. President,
Yes.
I didn't understand the rules. My friend Dave explained I'm on the agenda, so
Okay,
you can cross me off. sir.
okay, fine, thank you, that's fine. Jamie Riser? Well, you got to speak in the mic, sir.
I think you all are on the agenda also. Community corrections funding?
Yes.
Okay,
You could, you'll have your turn.
yeah, during,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
You have-
all right. Okay, Tammy Beamer.
Do I have to come over there? Can you hear me, Beth? Are you able to pick my voice up? Okay, this is about the webpage. We're going to be meeting again. The buttons down the side of them have to be reworked. The green strip across the top is supposed to be a marquee, and that's where we can put announcements for the weeks and, or like the fair, whatever, or if Pat has the OES office has some, it'll go across here. We need somebody that can write the history of Doddridge County to go in this spot. We need someone that can put together each officer's, like, what your duties are, to show a picture of you with your duties, and for all the elected officials around the courthouse. And I figure we'll be meeting again pretty soon with the whole group. But if you all could find somebody to do those, to do the writing, we'd really appreciate it.
Okay.
Don't you think the Historical Society would be a good place
It's up to you all.
Be a good place to start. Okay. Charlie, would you like to contact?
Sure.
Thank you.
And if there's anybody that has any input to this, please give us a call.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
What's the deadline for when you want the electeds to have their information in so I can pass it on?
As soon as possible.
As soon as possible, and if you could...
This has been like a birth from hell. So
Yeah,
as soon as possible would, like, probably within the next, say, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Is that reasonable?
Yeah, because I know that our office works on deadlines, so you have to tell us when you need it on this day.
2 weeks.
So
2
that
weeks
we
from
can-
today,
That's fine,
okay?
because otherwise, it never is.
I know.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Mariana, would you like to speak?
Yeah, I would. I decided to utilize my right to do FOIA requests. And what I did was, I did a FOIA request on what's stored at the Saturn station, at Central Station, from our EO, Officer of Emergency Services. And I was kind of blown away with the list of chemicals that's on site there, considering the close proximity to the homes. If you guys would like to make a copy, a lot of these are really dangerous and explosive, known carcinogenics. Some of the hazards, like for one, the hazard is inhalation of high vapor concentrations may have results ranging from eye, nose, throat, and lung irritation to dizziness, drowsiness, headache, nausea, and possible unconsciousness, depending on the concentrations and the levels of exposure. Now, I know in talking to people in the Central Station community, especially, I mean, there have been 911 calls from Howard that lives directly across from the plant entrance, where the 911 office was asking him to step inside so they could hear him. And he's in his living room talking to him, because there was stuff vented. That's just one, and Pat might have a better idea of the danger that's involved. So you have this plant that is sitting in a floodplain, that the floodplain permits were approved for. That is an extraction plant. They're storing the stuff that they're getting out, like the byproducts are stored on site. So that was one. Another one, there's special fire conditions that have to be dealt with. And the best thing our emergency squad or fire departments that respond can do is to keep people as far away from as possible because of the toxins that are going to be released in the air. I personally do not want to read through all of these pages, but we'll be happy to give this to you so that you can read it at your leisure. And if you have questions, ask Pat about them. Because I have serious concerns about people living in that community, and I guess just recently another family that's on a water well there lost their well. Okay? You know, family with, I think they have 3 kids, they lost their well. And I know that Antero has several well pads in that community, and I believe EQT has stuff going on also. So, once again, I would like to remind you, as our elected officials, you have a responsibility for the safety of people in this community. Okay? Now, you know, fortunately, I was kind of curious because every time I went by there, the activity that's going on is phenomenal. So it's not just what's stored on site. The dust on that road is ridiculous. The trucks that barrel through there do not maintain a safe speed limit for the people that are living on that road. Now, why is Snowbird Road excluded from Antero truck traffic, but Central Station's okay, Rock Run's okay? Why are some roads excluded and not all of them? I mean, it's just, you know, we need your help. So, do you guys want to make a copy of this?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like the original back if that's possible.
Yes, ma'am.
And then the other question I have, how much time do I have? You got the egg
25
time?
minutes.
Okay. The other question that I have also,
You got about a little less than a minute.
who else is speaking? I mean, you told us we had 30 minutes for public comment. Is there anybody else on the public comment
5
routine?
minutes for 30 minutes total.
Okay, Mr. Robinson, I want to thank you for limiting public comments from your constituents.
You've already used half of your time.
The other thing I wanted to ask you is the financial disclosures that are put with the Ethics Commission. 2 of them, from Mr. Robinson, Mrs. Williams, stated that 20% of your income comes from oil and gas production. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Shirley, public comment?
No comment.
Nothing? Greg? Nothing? Okay. That ends public comment. We'll go on to new business. Item A, Pat Easter, your report.
This is the August report that should have been here August 7th, but you guys moved the meeting and didn't tell me, so I went fishing and enjoyed myself.
I didn't get to go.
The
Thank you.
report is pretty much basic. We're still running about 8 transportation accidents a month. The water level for the county is at minus 4.31 inches. And we're a little low on Summer Pool right now. The creeks are low. We've run 6 transportation accidents this month, 2 of them with injuries. You can tell where the drilling is in the county by the shift in transportation accidents. US 50, it seemed to go east and then come back west. So basically the same thing. We're having a lot of trouble with the traffic itself, and talking to one of the sheriff's deputies the other night, he related to the fact that he got 6 water trucks in one road that didn't stop for a stop sign, and 2 of them didn't even have driver's license.
That's good.
I mean, not have chauffeur's license, they didn't have license at all. So we're dealing with a real volatile situation. On the 23rd, I met with Mark Walker from the state OES about the E-Team. That's a state organization that in case of emergency, we can hook up with the other counties and do that. And information on the Sarah stuff. The information that she gave you on the FOIA was Sarah-related information that's reported from the oil and gas companies yearly. Now, it used to be, Beth will tell you, that they used to get a copy, I used to get a copy, there used to be copies everywhere. And when they're working on the oil and gas companies reporting electronically instead of having to do all this, because it all comes certified, and so that's part of the FOIA that she related to you. We have upcoming events. We have an LEPC meeting. Our next LEPC meeting is on the 16th of October, 7 o'clock, and we have a 911 advisory board meeting on the 23rd of October. That'll be at Pennsboro in the 911 center. The other thing I give you a copy of is your building down there that you bought, potential office space. I don't have one of these left if you guys want to share it. If you guys want to share it. The building itself is, after I surveyed it, it has 11 possible office spaces, over 2,000 square foot, 2 full toilets. There's some suggestions in there. The biggest thing I see, and there's 2 problems I have, or 3 problems. The first problem is the electrical system. There's a picture of it there. It's a 60 amp electric service. I call them fuzzy electric. The wires are sold, they're fuzzy. That really needs to be replaced, but you don't have to replace the whole electrical system in the house. If you replace the entrance, the way that's set up, everything's on the outside of the structure, so you can wire into the new box with a 200 amp electric service, and that would relieve from the window air conditioners, and they're there, and all the other power sources. That would relieve your existing power sources and pull them back to the fact that you wouldn't have a problem there. The other suggestion is a new heating and air conditioning system. The space heaters there are not acceptable. They're unvented. They won't pass any kind of insurance or fire marshal inspection. With the installation of that would solve another problem, and the ceilings are high in the basement, so you could run a ductwork through the ceilings that would do the first floor and the basement area. Along with that, you could put a moisture control system in. You've got 2 rooms down there that would be good for storage, but they're not good for paper storage at this time, so you need to get some type of a humidifier or dehumidifier in there, I guess. Really, it's set up kind of nice. You've got 4 outside entrances set up so that you can divide the place up into 4 different areas or use areas. You've got a kitchen upstairs, which I'd recommend taking the countertops and the appliances out and done away with, and reinstall a wall that's partition that's missing there, and reopen the door, and you can have equal space offices all the way around. Now, most of those offices run well over, a standard office is 120 square feet, which is recommended 10 by 12, and most of those run plus to that, and so it'd make a nice office. They all have windows. You've got 4 outside exits. Americans with Disabilities Act requires that there has to be a access to all offices and public buildings, and it wouldn't be impossible because there's a concrete sidewalk that goes down in the back, but it would need some repair. I stated in there it's not a not doable thing, but it's going to take some work for that. The 3rd floor of the building has a accident looking for some place to happen in the stair tower going up the outside. I'd recommend that stair tower was taken off. The second floor of the building closed up, and if you wanted to, you could put a metal ladder with a cage on it to stop entrance. There's nothing up there. At the risk of great life and limb, I explored it, and that's a trip I'll never take again. But you've got 2 gas systems. Everything's broke up, set up. You could do it with dual controls on the heating system. I think you've got a very usable piece of property there. There's pictures in there of the inside and the space heaters and stuff. You've just got some minor problems, dude. The facility was probably the cleanest facility I've ever been in to look at for potential work. I mean, it's spick and span, it's clean, but I didn't see any sign of any infestations, rodents, anything like that. It looks like it's in good shape physically. The roof seems to be in good shape, but I think that you've got a good thing there. You've got 4 offices upstairs and a reception area. I don't know how you want to divide it up, but you've got some plans there you can look at, you can assign, it's numbered. You know, it's not brand new, but you can get several years of good use out of it without any problem at all. And I don't, like I said, I don't know how you want to divide it. The basement is as clean as the second floor. The offices down there aren't quite as light because they're subterranean, but I think that they'll do good. The bathrooms are accessible at the bottom of the stairs on both sides, so you could have, they need to be accessible from the first floor to the second floor. So it's a good usable piece of property. And if you guys have any questions, like I said, the electric service, everybody says, oh, you got new electric, that's going to cost you $1 million. No, if you pull the box off the outside, I mean, that box ought to be put in a museum. But it's all, and put a new 200 amp service in there with a breaker system in it, and you can rewire into that box and divide everything up and get the window air conditioners out of there. I think you'll see a marked difference. But it's a good clean facility, and you know, it's usable. You might have to have some handrails on those steps. The handrails that are there are just, they don't seem right to me. You know, handrails should be 36 inches off the nose of the tread, and they just don't.
They're not. They're not right.
Well, they just don't. You just grab a hold of them. You know, it ought to feel comfortable to walk down steps, but it doesn't. So that's all I have. Any questions?
What's this pipe sticking up here?
Water well.
And that's not.
No, that's not. No, that's gas. The pipe you see there, that's your gas turn on and off.
Okay.
The one on the other side where you get down the sidewalk, there's no water well there, pitcher pump water well, and
Okay.
it's closed in. It's been, I don't know that it's been plugged, but there's enough debris and diapers down it that I don't think anybody's going to bother with that.
Thanks, Pat.
So,
Yeah.
would you, would you be willing to supervise this project?
Well,
These projects, rather?
I'm thinking about quitting this job. I'm going to take on another one. No, seriously, I think if you talk to a general contractor, maybe get somebody to take the whole job on, it wouldn't be that much. They'd get an electrician in there and get a heating air conditioning man in there. It's going to be a game of dominoes. When you put the electric box on, then the heating air conditioning can come in, then you know what I'm saying? As far as partition work goes, one partition, you open up one door and you're back to 6 office spaces upstairs, and the walls even stubbed out brick. There's no structural problems. I think you can just talk to maybe one local. I don't know what the bidding is now. If you know, have to bid that paper living wage and all that stuff. I would think that somebody can handle that pretty easy. It's not a hard job. I mean,
So would you be willing to help write up the advertisement?
I'll help you what I can. I mean,
Okay.
you know, I've been this far on it.
Okay, but you know what we want is for all of the needs to be addressed.
You know, there's some painting and some plaster work, taking his kitchen cabinets out, putting a partition up and doing that stuff. You know, I don't know who even does that locally around here. But if you talk to some people who do that, you know, you get somebody locally. I spend as much money locally as you can, but that's just me.
Well,
Somebody said there was a heating man down there the other day.
Little Mike Bush went over there and looked at it and give us an estimate on
Okay.
heat and air. I haven't heard anything. You heard anything, Greg?
I haven't heard.
You heard it?
Well, I didn't know. I talked to his boy the other day, and he said he was up there working on that new building that the county court bought, and I said, oh, okay. He said, I saw him at the gas station and talked to him. He fixed my furnace too. So.
I haven't seen that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if you need to get estimates
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but we can do the advertisement, just a renovation project, all it is, and bring it up to snuff. But we need to get rid of those ventless heaters, and we need to, and there's some simple stuff in there, just help for you guys to get in. And the doors are all 32-inch doors, and that's not kosher for ADA, so.
So, we got to change them.
No, I think that we can grandfather those doors in, but like the front doors don't swing out. We got to have access, egress and ingress. It's not a big project, but nickel and dime you to death if you don't get it right up front, figure it out.
Excuse me. Would somebody open the door, please? Thank you. Go on, go photo.
Just stand there and hold it. Here, you want my book photo?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let me know, I'll help you any way I can.
Okay, well, we need to get that done as quickly as possible because it's not doing us any good the way it is right now.
I'll get with April.
Okay.
We'll find out what has to be done, if it has to be bid or as far as preventing leaks and stuff. I'm not gonna give you that.
Would it not be how much money we're going to spend where it has to be bid or not, or are you talking we have to bid it, period?
We don't know. I don't see in my days in architectural firms, some people skirted that issue by calling it maintenance. And maintenance most of the time didn't have to be bid unless it was a certain ceiling of money. And like updating the heating air conditioning system, you can call that maintenance, or the electrical system, you can call that maintenance. Where if you did it all as a project, it'd be a renovation project, and that'd be a general contractor, and that would have to be bid. So there's some different ways of handling them. I know Ralph wants to go to the fair, so I told him I wouldn't even talk so.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item B, hillbilly truck repair and towing service. Anybody here for that? Nobody here? Okay. Take no action. Item C, NBRT Foundation update.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, Commissioners, it's an honor to be here with you this evening, and my reason for being here tonight is just to kind of bring you up to date on what's happened with the grant for the North Bend Rail Trail, and perhaps I'll just provide a little bit of history. But first, I'd like to introduce a couple of our members of the foundation. Dale Michaels back there is a new board member. Dave Kimball here has been a member for a long time, and another member who is not here from Doddridge County is Patricia Harris. She's also a board member. And I'd like to introduce Ken Adams. He's the vice chairman of the foundation, and I'm currently the chairman. Last time I was here was about 4, maybe 5 years ago, when you graciously gave us some money for this $100,000 grant. And we received money not only from the county commission, but also from West Union Bank, from the EDA here in the county, the West Virginia State Parks Foundation, and we received a little bit of money from the McDonough Foundation. Well, what happened is we received approval for that $100,000 grant back in 2011. And so everyone's like, okay, Mark, what's going on, and where's our money here? Well, it's kind of a long story, but I'll try to capitalize on it very quickly. What happened, the feds changed the laws and the administration of all of their grants. And so West Virginia for 2 years has been trying to meet these new standards of policy and administration of these grants. And as a result, the North Bend Rails to Trails Foundation technically could no longer administer the grant. Now, we had done this in 2001 and 2002 with 2 other $100,000 grants. So I faithfully every month sent a nice little message down to DOH and said, where's our grant? When can we get started? Well, and they kept very politely telling me, we gotta wait until the feds sign off on this. Well, what did happen though, it turns out that we could no longer as a nonprofit administer the program. So what has happened is administrative control of the entire grant process has been turned over to a group of 2 agencies, and that is Department of Highways. It is the DNR, which is the actual owner of all the state parks in West Virginia. And then they in turn hired a consulting firm, an engineering firm, to do what I would call the grunt work and the administrative work. Now we're still actively involved in the process. What happened is Department of Highways selected Baker Engineering out of Charleston. They're a very large national engineering firm. They have about 35 people in the office here in West Virginia, and they've done a number of engineering projects around the state related to parks and rail trails. So we're actually very fortunate. The great news is that the $100,000 has now turned into $410,423. So that really got our attention because we can now do a lot more work, not only in Doddridge, but also in Harrison County. This end of the trail has unfortunately been neglected. We have some nice areas. You guys have some beautiful areas right through the center of town and actually going in both directions outside of town with your asphalt surfacing. So there's really some good surface. We see a lot of people using it. But if you go much beyond that, you're pedaling in mud. So the rule is, well, why don't you put down some nice clean surface? Well, remember, for 150 years, the railroad maintained that very well and took care of all the water problems. Well, West Virginia hasn't been doing that now for 30 years. So that kind of explains what our problem is today. You can't really put trail surfacing down until you've corrected your water drainage problems. And that's our biggest problem that we're faced with right now. The nice thing about this grant and the $400,000 is it'll go a long way to fixing Doddridge and Harrison County problems. The other nice thing about it is that Baker Engineering, if we should, God forbid, run out of money, we will actually have engineering plans left over for additional work that we're going to do. So as soon as this $400,000 is spent, this foundation is going to be writing more grants. So I just wanted you to know that we're still working on this process. We've had 2 days on the rail trail with the engineering firm, with Department of Highways, and with the Rail Trail Foundation out there, seeing what needs to be done, finding locations that have got to be fixed first. And we just finished up, like I say, 2 days. We did 1 day in July, we did one earlier this month. We're doing what we think will be the final day here tomorrow. We're starting at the ball fields and headed toward the east. So we hope to get all of the remainder of the rail trail surveyed to find out where all the problems are. Now there is one section, some of you locally may be aware of it. Mark West put a very large pipeline over a mountain, and in the process they did put the trail back, but because of the erosion that's come down off the mountain, the trail is actually closed for how far? About 1.5 miles? 1.3 miles. And that is something that no funds from this grant will be used. That will be up to the Division of Natural Resources and State Parks in cooperation with Mark West to repair that section. So that's good news because that is their responsibility. The other thing, because we've put a number of articles in the paper about what's happening with the grant, but still, rumors and innuendo go around. So 1 week from tomorrow night at the Doddridge County Senior Center, our foundation will host a public forum. And we want to do that just to educate the citizens about the project, what's happening, and where we are today. So we're going to do that next Wednesday, I believe it's the 27th, and that will be from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Doddridge Senior Center. So, and of course it's open to the public. And those who are unable to attend are welcome to send their questions or comments to info@ northbendrailtrail.org. That's info@northbendrailtrail.org. We will collect those questions and comments, and we will present them in the public forum with appropriate comment. Any questions?
No, sir.
I'll leave some of these are the track records that just announced this. You may have received these in the mail up here at the courthouse, but I've got extra copies. I'll leave them. Thank you very much. Appreciate
Thank you. Okay, item D, community corrections funding. Thanks, guys. See you. Thank you.
Thank you all for having us do our presentation here tonight. As you know, the Community Corrections Day Report Center was rejected for the grant for the state. We have been working at the Day Report Center nonstop pretty much, trying to figure this out, how to do this. What you're seeing on this budget is a revised budget of what has already been spent through July and August up to this point from the money that was already allotted. The last page, the additional funds needed is the number that we're really focusing on here tonight, is what we're asking for. And it's $80,334. And I know that sounds like a tremendous amount of money, but with our projected numbers that we're looking at the Day Report Center for the remainder of this grant cycle until next June 30th, the savings to the county is going to be several $100,000 above that. I mean, so we're just asking you to help fund us through this one grant cycle. We're not asking you to fund this Day Report Center from now on. That's not our goal. We worked on the grant already for next year, and we've seen some mistakes that were made that may have impacted their decision of not to fund us this year. So we're correcting things basically daily right now. So this is the number, and we have trimmed everything we can down to make it. We have travel expenses is probably our highest expense that we have, but we have mandatory trainings that we have to get to. So the $80,000 will fund us until July 1st next year when the new grants come out. So, any questions? Everything.
How many people do you have participating now?
Right now there's 11.
11?
Yes. And we're looking to have at least 25 to 30, say by Christmas, by the end of the year, and continue that to grow forward. Everybody we've talked to has been behind us 100%. Our referral sources, other Day Report centers, magistrates, everybody has just jumped on board to help us with this.
Okay, now, I guess I have a question. Did anybody ever talk to the judge? I know we talked about that in the...
We had a meeting set up, but it never...
I had a meeting set up, but he couldn't make it. It's either going to be the 28th, 29th, or 2nd and 7th.
Okay.
But yeah, that's next on our agenda is to meet with the judge. We have met with the prosecuting attorney and the magistrates, and everybody's behind us. It's just we have to get this thing going the way it should go.
Well, as I understand it, the problem was that the ultimate reason why we did not receive the funding, the information was given to someone and it was not followed up on. Now you're doing that and you're finding out the reasons why. So
yeah, we've actually been in contact with Charleston every day. They're 100% helpful, telling us what they want to see on the next grant application. That's probably a head start that everybody else has already. I mean, because they really want to see this thing go. They're telling us what they want. They have done this in the past. It just didn't get done. So we've learned from the mistakes in the past, and we're going to move forward. And I think this program is very beneficial to the county.
as I said in the board meeting, I don't mind, well, I would rather not have to do this. But you have to deal with facts as they are, not like you would want them to be.
Correct.
And so, and with that being said, in addition, as I said in that meeting, I don't want, and you said the same thing in your presentation, I don't want this to be an every year thing coming back saying we didn't meet their stipulations for receiving the grant. And so I think you all are on that, are on track for that. That's my comments.
I know you've been working hard, and I think we can make this work with all your hard work you've been putting in it, and I'd like to see it work.
Okay. I've seen a change in the I'll call it system. Okay. The last few meetings that we attended, I've seen a big improvement in personnel, I should say. I do think that you people are trying very hard to make this succeed, and I understand that you can't make it succeed without the commission's approval. I understand that, and I would be very pleased if you would continue your efforts the way you're going. I would be very, very pleased if you continue this, and I myself don't want to fund this every year. Okay?
Great.
Okay.
And we will show progress reports monthly. We're tracking everything we're doing. We want this to be duplicatable year after year from this point forward. I mean, we're not going to go backwards. So we got a good team down there that's working. I couldn't ask for more out of them.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I will move that we authorize the additional $80,334 in monies to fund the Day Report Center for fiscal year June 30th, 2015.
Motion has been made that we fund the $80,334 for community corrections funding for the fiscal year. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion is carried. Item E, water testing results. We have, I forget how many pages, 40-some pages here. 47 or 48, let me look. Okay, don't remember. 47, I think it is. Okay, guys, see you, thank you. I read through this whole book. I see nothing there that's wrong, but I'm not an expert on this, and we have the mayor of West Union here to maybe help us out a little bit, explain things to us. And there's copies here for anybody that wants one. And Joe, if you want to get up and just explain a little bit, we appreciate it.
It's just like you obviously see this, West Union did not take the samples, we weren't involved in the sampling process.
I know. You've got more experience than we do with it, though.
Right.
Okay.
No one from Downstream Strategies is here to explain
No one
anything they did.
No,
Here's your report. Okay.
no one here.
First thing I noticed, it says on July 3rd, 2014, Downstream Strategies got samples, but all the samples were taken on July 9th. I guess it's a little typo, but it's important for this process, everything, all the ducks being in a row. The day of sampling, their pH said they had a 7.2. At the plant, we had 7.3. Temperature was 24 Celsius. We had a 23 Celsius. All the initial stuff is comparable, a point here or there is off, you know. They, as you can see, they tested for approximately 50, 60 different things. Some that we do, a lot that we don't do. All of them were real close. Some were in parts per million, some are in parts per billion. A part per million is fill your bathtub up with water, take a dropper and put a drop of water in it, that's a part per million. You know, part per billion, just multiply it eventually. Did you have any questions about the report yourself or any comment? You know, it seemed like, you know, everything that it did is standard.
So it's comparable to the tests that you all,
Right.
the results are comparable for the items that you test for.
Right. Similar like sulfate, they had a 15, we had a 12.4. You know, I didn't have time to research it out. I don't know what the ceiling is. You know, that's where, you know, you think that consulting firm would have that information, be able to rattle it off to you. They have scientists and engineers working for them. You know, but I'm afraid I might not be a ton of help, but
Okay. So nothing in that report alarmed you?
nothing that alarmed me, you know. No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Could I ask you something, Joe?
Yes, ma'am.
I've not seen this. I'm just looking at it. This is analytical results, page 1 of 5, and it's ALS Group USA Corp. It's back there ways, but it says diesel range organic filled by GCFID. The result was 97.6, and the report limit was 21 to 90. Is that anything that?
What page is that?
It says page analytical results, page 1 of 5. And it's at the top, diesel range organics by, and like the aluminum, the result was 0.43, and the report limit is supposed to be 0.010, which is a whole lot less than 0.43.
To me, that's where it would have been nice if they would have come down
Yeah.
and explained their report.
And the barium was way up, but the arsenic was down.
You know, and what we test is finished water. We do process control on the creek water, but we don't test for all the chemicals.
Right, that's why they're doing that.
Absolutely.
I asked them if they would come down on it, and as they explained to me, they would be more than happy to come down, but there was going to be a fee of $200 to $300, because they are a for-profit organization. But if there are any specific questions about any of it, I think if an email was sent to them, I think they would respond. I did not see the results. If I had seen some of the stuff, I would have asked the questions, but they were acting in a very professional manner and would not share the results with me without the commission's,
And I think,
which is good.
I think that's the way, that's the
Yeah,
way it should
it's
be.
good.
Okay. Okay, we move on.
Well,
What you got?
what I would like to see is maybe a summary from these people for the items that are outside the parameters, so to speak. If they would just explain those items, you know, they don't have to come down here, but if they could send along an extra couple of pages of report that would say that whatever that diesel range organics by GCFID at that 97.6, it's outside the parameters a little, and you know, maybe they could explain that, or maybe there's a simple explanation. I don't know.
You sort of look like you're looking at me, so what I would suggest is I can send you, Kendra Hatcher is the woman that did the testing and is handling the account. You can very easily send them an email and ask those questions. I was more than happy to volunteer my time, get stuff set up, meet her at the sample site, ask Mr. Whitehill for permission to do the sampling there so that everything was legit. But unless you give Downstream Strategies permission for them to discuss this with me, they're not going to do it because you guys paid. So one of you or somebody from the commission needs to contact them and ask them the specific questions.
Why don't you, if you don't mind, send me the link and I can email and
You
request.
probably, I've already, I think in the emails I exchanged, some of them I did, but I will be happy to forward Kendra's email address as well as the email address for the gentleman that's the head of the company.
Okay, appreciate that.
Got anything, Chris?
I'm done.
Okay. Move on to item F, Juvenile Accountability Block Grant.
This is like the JAG grant we did the other time. You guys have to vote to approve Ralph to be your, to act on your behalf as a contractual agreement with the Division of Justice and Community Services to receive the administrative grants. And this is for the Juvenile Accountability Block Grant. That's for the criminals.
Need a motion? Or, we need a motion? We need a motion to approve it. I also move that we approve this grant. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Thank you very much. Down okay, ready?
We need to sign the report center.
You know who this is?
That's this, we probably need to sign, I'm done, two of them.
It's published on Richmond County. Composition is entirely put together by Richmond County. And there are no ads in there for anything else to do about it.
But I just wondered when this one was published. See, they put this out.
And then we got a staff about a month ago.
Okay, we'll move to
Everybody's taking a regular stores.
floodplain permit report. That's me, because Bo's not going to be here, so I'll read them for you. Okay. Permit applications received August the 2nd, 2014 through August 14th. 14-254 Consol Energy Cone Gathering LLC, pipeline entirely out of floodplain. 14-255 Blue Mountain Incorporated, CNX Gas Company, South Fork Bridge Project Number 1. (14-256) CNX Gas Company Morris Tank Site, entirely out of floodplain. 14-257 Antero Resources, Trent Tank Pad to Wagner Tank Pad Surface Water Line, entirely out of floodplain. 14-258 Antero Resources, Alexander Well and Water Containment Pad, entirely out of floodplain. 14-259 Antero Resources, Well Pad, entirely out of floodplain. 14-260 Antero Resources, Middle Well Pad, entirely out of floodplain. Applications still pending as of August 14th, 2014. 14-229 Crestwood Marcellus Midstream, Victor and Brooks Pipeline, location Greenbrier District. 14-247 Crestwood Marcellus Midstream, tie-in to Susie Jane Pipeline, location. Ordinance, don't give me anything else. 14-250 CNX Gas Company, Red Orange Water Line. 14-251 CNX Gas Company, Orange Blue Water Line. 14-252 EQT Pipeline. 14-253 Cone Gathering, Mead House Court, Water Line. 14-255 Blue Mountain Incorporated CNX Gas Company, South Fork Bridge Project Number 1. Douglas County floodplain permit applications approved between August 1 and August 14th, 2014. 14-254 Consult Energy, Cone Gathering, Pipeline, entirely out of floodplain. 14-256 CNX Gas Company, Morris Tank Site, entirely out of floodplain. 14-257 Antero Resources, Trent Tank Pad to Wagner Tank Pad Surface Water Line, entirely out of floodplain. 14-258 Antero Resources, Alexander Well and Water Containment Pad, entirely out of floodplain. 14-259 Antero Resources, Coal Well Pad, entirely out of floodplain. 14-260 Antero Resources, Middle Well Pad, entirely out of floodplain. That's all I have. Okay. We have nothing left except our invoices. Do we have any budget revisions?
Yeah.
We do? Okay. We'll do them first. Okay. Three budget revisions. Okay. Can we do all three of them at one time?
Yeah, it's all over
701, service process budget needed increase by $35,450 to cover the cost of process service. 715, A budget needs increase by $50,000 to cover the cost of 2 new heart monitors that are to be purchased. 424, courthouse budget needed increase by $3,900 to cover the cost of security fire door in the boiler room. I move that we pass the budget revision. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
How much was the process server?
35.4, didn't you say, for the process server?
Process server, $35,450.
Beth, did you ever figure out how much they were making for process serving? How much they brought in on that?
It wasn't a huge amount. We looked at the ones so far this year, for the year that's going on. I'm not sure. I did look last year's, but I can't remember. That was right after the meeting.